Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Haft here. Episode number 30. Beaver Dam in the state of Wisconsin, a corrupt criminal enterprise, and this is a true American horror story. These are all my opinions. And this one here, this episode is going to focus on my story, my life history, and why I did this now. Okay, my life story basically, I grew up here in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. And actually, it's 4 generations of the Haft family here in Beaver Dam. My great grandpa, my dad, me, and then my son Cody. We all went to school here in Beaver Dam. There's 4 generations in the community. I'm going to try to make this a short version. I graduated in 1976 from Beaver Dam High School, and then during my high school and career, I had a paper route, and then I worked at Lau Calf Farms, 14 to 15 and a half years old. And I worked at Lower's Food Store, and I worked at Super Value, and then I would work for Beaver Wrecking and Salvage Company. And I worked there. I started out cleaning bricks. I used to get paid 2 cents a brick, and cleaned hundreds of thousands of bricks. Actually could make a decent wage. There's a little piece of history on that. We used to get an hour for lunch, and a half hour, me and this other guy, Art Karras, we would clean a pallet of bricks that was $300 a piece during our half hour during lunch break, and we make $6 for doing the bricks, and we made $3 an hour. So it's kind of a little fun piece of history. Then worked at John Deere, then I worked at Watertown Metals. Then I went to work at Jay's Triangle Inn. I started managing that place when I was 19 years old. And I'm not going to sit here and go through this whole story and everything and say that I didn't make mistakes. Yes, I made mistakes. I'm a young guy, 19 years old, running a bar. Tremendous amount of responsibility. It was kind of a family deal. But I basically did most of the bartending and ran the place. But then my dad got cancer and died, lung cancer, and then we sold the place, and then I opened up this bar downtown, Emotional Rescue in Beaver Dam. I started out there. I bought the place kind of on a shoestring, and it was an amazing place, historical building, and things went great for me. I paid for the building in 4 years. I paid for my house in 8 years. I had a nice pickup truck. I had a Porsche 911 that I bought and paid for. A Mustang GT with 17,000 miles, bought that brand new, bought and paid for. My Harley, I had my motorcycle collection, my coin collection, more money in my 401k at that time than I do to this day. Yeah. But it was a true American success story. The place was closed when I bought it, and I restored the place to the magnificent building it was, and did everything that I could on there. And that's kind of like my work history and stuff like that, and why I did this now. Because people need to know the truth, that it wasn't me, it was the corrupt government, the city and the state government. The city portrayed me all along as this terrible person, this greedy person, and all I wanted was an appraisal for my property. They did it through the newspaper, the radio station, a relentless attack from the mayor and other city officials and the DNR. I mean, it's. I went on the radio, when this all was going on, and I explained the laws and the Constitution. Nobody cared. They felt they could do whatever they want, legal or not. And this is a big problem with these communities, because they think that they can do whatever they want. In some ways, they are immune, because the way, you talk about criminal justice reform. I mean, we're in desperate need of it. You should not be able to buy yourself out of it because you're rich and you can pay more for a lawyer. That's not the way, it should work. So I went on and explained this, and I contacted the Commerce Department, the DNR, the city, all these people, and they can do whatever they want. They don't care what the laws are. It's insane. And then, like I said, I had this is page 2 here. I had no idea the government could possibly be this corrupt. Be careful, if you ever become a whistleblower, because they will defend the corrupt and leave you out to dry. The reason I say this is because the amount of money that the city and the states, when I try to take these people to court, they bought the most highest price paid attorney. Their little city attorney wasn't good enough for them for this. They did everything they could to stop me from getting a trial for this. And it's truly amazing because, we had the depositions and stuff, and I paid for those out of my own money and everything, and they wouldn't give me a trial. And then people say to yourself, that's basically what I am, a whistleblower. And like I said, be careful, because they're going to hang you out to dry. They don't care about liberty and justice or for all and running an honest, clean government. It's the last thing that enters their mind. Because before I started this series, I contacted the DNR, the city, the state of Wisconsin. I attempted to contact the state of Wisconsin. They didn't want to talk to me, But I sent them a whole package, all the stuff, to Tony Evers, And, when you're in a position you can actually do something and somebody gives you evidence, are you covering up? I believe so. The days of these antique politicians should be over. These days of these politicians with multiple terms. Everybody says there should be a two-term limit on everybody, but politicians will never voted in because, they love the easy money and whatever else they can hustle on the side. So the reason I waited so long to do this is because, I had been under threats, right from the beginning. I had it from I went into Marianne Shack's office, the city attorney in town. And I said, Marianne, that's an illegal development. You know that? Because I had all these emails for a long time, and I knew about all this corruption and stuff like that. So, and she looked at me like, oh, this and that. So I went back to the bar, and I had worked for a while and had to go to the post office. And all of a sudden, I'm walking out to the post office, and this guy comes swinging his laptop, walking at me, staring at me, coming in. And I thought to myself, what's he swinging his laptop like that for, And then he tried to lunge at me, in the hallway there at the post office. But I can't blame it on Marianne, but it was very coincidental, that this happened like within an hour's time, of when I explained to her that was an illegal development. So then I had a couple city officials tell me that I better move out of town when this is all over because, I accept the consequences for being an honest person. And then another one, when I talked to like a dozen lawyers and stuff like that, and one lawyer goes, oh, it's funny you're not dead ready because I knew about that development, with the WIDA developers, and I said, well, nobody's tried to get me yet, but, I was basically under somewhat of a threat. And I wanted to wait. And now I'm almost 65 years old. My life is almost over. Now more than ever, the rich, powerful, and the greedy probably will come for me because I've exposed so much of the corruption in the government, And there's more to come. Yeah, I got a surprise. It's coming for everybody, And at times, it's hard to wrap your arms around this story and the amount of corruption that there possibly could be. Not only hard to imagine, or also hard to believe, because it's just, every kid, and this kind of goes to it that, every kid in high school should watch this series. When I was in school, I was taught lies like a government by the people, for the people. Some people, yes, but not everybody. That's for damn sure. Liberty and justice for all. You can't get a trial for equal rights, and it's all about money. And the true story is it's all about money and who you know. And I just want to take a couple seconds and talk about why people always say that you can't fight City Hall. And the reason behind this is because it's real simple. Okay, and you got a small little redneck community like Beaver Dam, and it's, scary little county called Dodge. You know, a lot of times they say that Wisconsin is the Mississippi of the North, and you know, when you read this story, you can't really argue with that point. See, the thing is, your city attorneys, you know, they like going to Beaver Dam. Mary Ann, she's 80 years old, whatever. She knows all the judges. You know, she knows all the lawyers. You know, it's all, they belong to this bar association. They know each other. You know what I mean? You know, they're friends, you know. And it's one of those things that even if you do get a trial, which I was unable to get, you know, and this, like I said, this isn't a frivolous case. And I'll dab into the frivolous cases a little bit. Because, see, my lawyer told me, he says, no one would take this case but him. See, he was 85 years old, and, you know, he didn't care anymore. He thought it was, you know, just an amazing case and stuff like that. Because, see, when you get appeals for your cases, or when, you know, you got the ability to, you know, to take, you know, for the court to hear the trial, hear that case. I'm sure everybody's heard of these frivolous cases, like somebody who got hot coffee and spilled it on himself, and, you know, ended up getting a court date for that. It's like, you know, it's hot coffee, you know, you're not supposed to spill it on yourself, you know. Okay. That you could brew your own coffee, like when they did that to McDonald's, you know. But it's other cases like this too that are frivolous. You know, you hear about it all the time. The lawyers that get these frivolous cases heard in court, they're not taking the state and the city to court. Because when you do something like this, you could actually hire a lawyer, and they're not actually working for you. They're taking your money. They're working for themselves, and they're looking forward to future considerations, you know. And I'm saying not every lawyer is like that, but, you know, a lot of them are. They work for themselves. They think you're stupid. And, you know, they're working on 20, 30 cases at a time, you know, and they drag it out and stuff like that, you know, because, you know, they look out for themselves, you know. We're all supposed to be so stupid, you know. So that's part of that. That's why it's hard. And not only that, the city has a city attorney on file, and, you know, money. They'll appeal that case, and they'll take it to, you know, the state Supreme Court if they have to. Take you years to get anything. And by that time, your lawyer's going to say, hey, you're out of money. Too bad, you know. And that's why you can't, because they have this lawyer on retainer and stuff like that. You know, so your justice system is something else. And that's why these cities do this stuff, because they think they can get away with it, you know. And a lot of times they can, you know. So it just, you know, it's the farthest thing in the world from a true democracy, you know. A lot of it is part of a criminal enterprise. Okay, so there's a couple things I missed I want to add here. I reached out to Scott Walker in his office, stated, does anybody else care? You know, when I talked to him about the whole situation, the city and the flooding and all this, that. Shortly after this, I received a campaign folder from Scott Walker wanting a campaign contribution from me. You know, and I truly believe if I would have gave him some money, he might have done something. But how could I, when the government already stole almost everything, you know, that I worked for my whole life from me? You know, so it was amazing. I had this fancy folder, all this color printing and everything. You know, it's like, yeah. And another one of the reasons why I did this is because I've already been told by several people, you know, that people look at me different because they're going to know the truth, that it wasn't Jay Haver, that they had no idea that, you know, the government could be that corrupt, and the manipulation in the media, you know, and that a city could come in and threaten these people, you know, 17 buildings at first, then 11, you know, and then with removal of their buildings, you know, the people from the community, like I was explaining, you know, the four, you know, generations of my family that, you know, were raised here in Beaver Dam, you know, could remove these buildings. And then the DNR would allow the development of an illegal development for a developer worth $200 million from out of town. You know, it's just, that's what just makes this story so terrible, because, you know, to do all this stuff to your citizens, threatened me for 5 years. So somebody worth $200 million could have an illegal development, you know, and then the fraud involved and everything like that in the state government. It just blows me away. But that's kind of like, you know, my story for some of the people that don't know me, you know, I'm from out of town, but, I've got a clean criminal record. I was in the bar for 33 years in the bar business and never got received a citation for my business. I had charity events. I coached boys baseball in town here for 6 years. The seventh year, I went in to sign my son up, and they asked me if I wanted to coach that year, and I said, well, no. I said, because they made me look so bad. I said, I don't want to have to answer a bunch of stupid questions for people that don't know the truth. So I didn't coach the seventh year, but I did coach in town for 6 years. People asked me why I was open so late at night, and I said, well, my son plays baseball and I'm coaching. So I really got a lot of enjoyment out of that, giving back to the community. So that's basically my story and stuff like that. And I did donate 2 real nice bronze statues to these 2 guys in town here who coached for 30 years, in honor and respect for them. And that's about it. I just want people to know, I'm not this terrible person, and people need to know the truth, and we need to reform our state government, local government. People need to go to city council meetings. People, we need the rise of the independent party. A lot of things, that can't be fixed overnight. But I want to say thank you all folks again. I'm going to be coming back with some bombshells. So thank you.